To be honest, I don't know how to charge this without shooting it.
And I fell. Bounties. But he's dead for right now, so he's gonna leave us alone now.
Alright, well, if I kill you, it's not my fault.
I don't believe that for a minute.
Oh, my armistice zone privileges are revoked.
No, it looked like I got hit by my own ship when I was getting out of the seat.
Another NPC. Yep, he's dead. Oh, no, he ran away. What's going on, everybody? Dark Hour 717 here with the holiday version of State of the Verse. We are, of course, taking the next couple weeks off from the live podcast just so people can spend time with their families. Hopefully, they're all having a great and safe holiday season, as well as yourselves. But just definitely wanted to bring some of the latest and greatest information and news that's been out in the last week as a quick little news format for you. Of course, we're on 316 now. Version's supposed to be 7912978. And CIG, of course, is on winter break. So they got this patch out. They're on winter break until after the new year. And we know that shortly after the new year, we're going to get a 316.1. So once they return, they'll be working on that. And we'll be seeing things like the laser trip mines get in, as well as some of the other materials that they missed, like the derelict spaceships coming in for 316.1. Of course, that means we have no roadmap roundup until the 26th of January. We also have no Inside Star Citizen or Star Citizen Live, as those have had their final year-end programs last week that we went over. But there are a number of different things going on throughout the verse that just going to quickly touch base on just to bring you the latest information. Of course, we always start with our current offers, and right now the current offers are going to be the Drake Cutlass Steel. Now, this was surprising when they came out with the pricing on this because I never imagined that it would go as high as it has. The Drake Cutlass Steel right now is available as a war bond for 210 US dollars, or you can get it as a standalone ship for 235 US dollars. Now, there are CCUs available in war bond as well as standard, but the pricing on it, I'm really disappointed. The ship itself is basically a Drake Cutlass Black with some extra guns slapped on it. There's no additional armor. There's no additional anything else other than the seats to put people in. It's really hard to justify that large of an increase over a Drake Cutlass Black, which is less than half the price. So, but those are available out there in Warbond and Standard editions, and I'll be doing a full guide on the Drake Cutlass Steel here probably within the next week to bring you more information and my opinion of it now that I've flown it. I actually did a CCU myself off of a Saber that I had. I had an extra Saber I wasn't using, so I was able to do a fairly inexpensive CCU to get that so that I could test it out. Now, with the Drake Cutlass Steel, they also offer the Power Pack, which is going to be $550 US War Bond, or you can get it without the War Bond at $610 as a standalone. This is actually going to give you the Drake Cutlass Black, the blue, the red, and the steel. So that package deal kind of gives you, if you go with the War Bond, it definitely absorbs some of that hurt from the higher cost of the steel. But, that is available where you can get all four of those ships in one pack. They also came out with new paints for the Drake Cuddy, and that's going to be basically the Saurian paint, which is $4 US. You also have the Cypress and the Hawthorne that are $7 each, or you can get a 3-pack of the paints for $14 US and save yourself a little bit of money there. Of course, with 316, we also see the introduction of Jumptown 2.0, which I talked briefly about in my 316 review that I did, and I'll put the link to that in the comments, as well as probably a little tag up here somewhere. But that's going to be running now through the 14th of January. All days that it's going to be running, it will run at 1 a.m. UTC time as well as 6 p.m. UTC time, with the exception of the 26th of December and the 14th of January. Currently, right now, at those times I mentioned, it's going to be running for about 6 hours at a span. But on the 26th of December and 14th of January, it's going to be running for 48 hours. That means you're going to have 48 hours to get in, get as much as you can get, go sell it, continue the cycle, earn a ton of AUEC. We grabbed a number of packages, just over 100 the other night when we were on, and we made over 2.2 million just off of 100 plus packages. I think it was like 105 or 110, somewhere right around in there. There's also a Jumptown Wars documentary that's available on the RSI website, and that's a 45-minute video about the history of Jumptown. I'll include a link to that in the description below so you can check that documentary out. It's actually some very interesting information. Definitely, if you're into the historical side of things and the lore, definitely check that out. It's a fun little program to watch. With Jumptown 2, they also bring in the gear up for Jumptown, and this actually provides the availability to get some additional vehicles that will be useful in this event. And sales have opened up for a number of different vehicles, and that's going to be for support from the ground, air, as well as drop ships. The drop ships, of course, they have the Cuddy Steel, they have the Valkyrie, the Prowler, as well as the M2 Hercules. One thing I was really surprised about was that we didn't see the Vanguard Hoplite included in this, because technically it is a dropship, but they did not include that in these dropship support vehicles for Jumptown. For air support, they actually have the Vanguard Warden, though, as well as the Aegis Redeemer and the A2 Hercules, which with that, you'll find out they increase the cost of the bombs to restock it. And I think the A2 is definitely going to get a lot of use during the Jumptown event. Ground support vehicles, they actually opened up sales for the Drake Dragonfly, the Apoa Nox, the Cyclone TR, MT, and AA, as well as the Anvil Spartan and the Anvil Ballista. They also have the Nova Tonk available for sale as well too. So some great ground vehicles to get in there and get fighting with. But there's no war bonds on any of these support vehicles, whether it be ground, air, or drop ships. They're all at their standard price. There's no war bonds available, but CCUs will be available for all of those as well. Of course, what we found out in the PTU for 316 is that they're also running Nine Tails. I'm a little torn on Nine Tails. It was really a lackluster event for me. When it first came out, it wasn't an enjoyable event, and really kind of tried it a few times, really couldn't get into it. And when they released it on the PTU, the nice thing is that they did include a way to play the other side. There are pirate missions available for it now, but the few times that we've played it since they've reintroduced it, again, it just seems very long and drawn out, very unguided as to what you should be doing, as well as it just never seems to progress, and still very lackluster. But that is going to be running over the winter break as well, starting on the 28th of December. This is going to go through the January 8th time frame. Times for this to run are going to be definitely a little bit different. It's basically going to run in a cycle starting at 3 p.m. UTC time on the 28th, and then it's going to run at midnight, and then it's going to run at noon UTC time the next day, and then at midnight, and then it's going to go back to 3 p.m. UTC time the next day after that. So you'll be seeing an alternating schedule during that time frame of the 28th through the 8th. Keep in mind that they are all in UTC time, so you will have to adjust for your own personal location and time zone. Of course, we also have the Luminalia screenshot contest still going on. The first place for that is the Aegis Redeemer, with the second place being the Ares Inferno and third place being the Argo Raft. You can see the RSI website for the details on that contest, how to enter, and where to send your submissions, and those can go in all the way through January 4th. Also with that is the greeting card contest, where your first place is going to actually be one of 3 great ships as well, the Anvil Valkyrie, the Aegis Redeemer, or the Origin 400i. Of course, both of these contests, they're all LTI, But again, see the RSI website for the details on that. That you can do submissions all the way through the 3rd of January. Carrying over from the Luminalia is, of course, the discount starter packs, and that's going to run through January 10th. So you have the Aurora MR at $40.50 US with a package that includes Squadron 42 for $60.50 US, as well as the Avenger Titan for $63, or you can get it with the Squadron 42 for $83 US. Also, what's available is the Mustang Alpha, which does not include Squadron 42 at $40.50 US, and the Consolidated Outland Nomad at $85.50. Again, no Squadron 42 on that, though. And keep in mind and remember that starting January 1st, we're going to be having our giveaway starting with a package donated by Helio, one of Amrock's Fang's members. Going to be the Consolidated Outland Nomad package, which does include Squadron 42 from IAE. We'll be giving that away to one lucky winner at the end of January. Get your entries in starting January 1st by commenting any video here on YouTube after you subscribe, or head over to Twitch, follow over there. That will also get you an entry. And we'll be taking entries throughout the month of January and then pick a winner. And we'll be happy to give that out to one lucky winner at the end of January. Now, as we all know, patch 316 did release on Wednesday, December 22nd. This is the last patch of the year, and it is going to be followed up, as I mentioned, by a 316.1 after the winter break. So when they come back, they're going to be going right back into working on 316.1 and working to get that over to us so that we can see, as I mentioned, the laser trip mines, the derelict puzzles, and a few other options that they push back. One downfall for me is that, of course, those mining gadgets got pushed back to 317, as we found out last week from the roadmap roundup. But we all know that can happen at any time. We'll also include a link to the patch notes in the description below, so head over there, check that out. It's going to have a lot more detailed information than what I have here. But basically what 316 introduces is going to be Jumptown 2.0, or you can check out my review of the 316 patch, probably up here somewhere. But what it includes is going to be the introduction of Jumptown 2.0, the Gravlev rework, Drake Cutlass Steel, atmospheric bounty missions, which I think is great because they've now brought Microtech and ArcCorp into the mission bounty system. So you're not so locked in going between Hurston and Crusader. You actually have some more areas to go out to and expand. Of course, we have Area 18 Hospital, the law system improvements, and of course the update to the Dying Star map and Arena Commander. Now, patch 316 hasn't been without its issues. Some of the issues that it has are recurring. Some things that don't end up on the patch notes, but we are still experiencing is infinite load screens, of course, black screens on death. And those things I think we're going to see pretty much stick around for a little bit longer, but it seems to come and go as to how frequent it is. Some of the listed known issues, though, on this patch, and these are just going to be a few. Laser repeaters are directly affecting the ship and damaging it through the shield. So the shields are not stopping the laser repeaters, and it's just going right through and acting like a ballistic. Also, other issues that we've had are some servers are having issues updating the mission offering. What they recommend is if you're seeing that the missions are not updating, you're not getting new missions, leave the server, wait a couple minutes, and then rejoin. And that should refresh it for you and get you back on your way. They are still having issues with bed logging on surface, and it can cause your ship to fall through the planet, which is never a good thing, of course. And also with issues from when you leave Klesher. You could actually leave Klesher and find out that your Mobi-Glass or any equipment that you had equipped, as well as your head. So your head can go missing, which is not a good thing. And that happens only when you leave Klesher. And I would think the fix for this is you just have to log out, log back in, and hopefully they'll bring your head back. Ships not appearing in the vehicle manager and Mobi-Glass. This has been something that's been around since the new inventory system came along. And the workaround for this is basically if you know your ship is at that station, it's not in a reclaim status. All you have to do is pull the ship out to a pad or a hangar. Once it's there, store it. And then you'll be able to go into your Mobi-Glass and access it through the Vehicle Manager app and make any changes that you need to make. That's an easy workaround, takes a few extra seconds, but you can get by that one. Also, they're still having issues with the hammerhead turret doors. People are getting locked in. What we find really helps us out is that if the pilot opens exterior from the the pilot's chair. That should unlock them and allow people to get out. Now, as far as the ship and vehicle changes for 316, I don't think this is going to really require me going in depth with a lot of this. We know about the Ares, Ion, and Redeemer balance pass. It did move from 316 PTU over to 316 live. We're on that higher rate of fire. We got the aim assist is gone, and honestly, myself, I'm not going to go into too much depth on it. It's been called useless. It's been called nerfed, whatever. I don't think that's the case. I used the Ion for several hours last night running bounties, and I had no issue with anything from the VLRT level all the way through the HRT level. I'm still working to get up to the ERT level, but definitely I'm not seeing the problems that people are reporting with this. So that did move over to live. To be honest with both of these, I think we're going to see that this balance gets changed numerous times over between now and the time that the game goes live or, release. So I don't think people need to get so upset about the changes that are made now because it will change 10 times over, most likely. We already know that that's the long-term game plan from the ship combat Star Citizen Live that they had, and that there's going to be an overall balance of every ship in the verse. As I mentioned before, the cost of the size 10 Moabs have also changed. I don't have the exact price because I haven't had to restock mine yet, but that did go up a little bit, which I would expect with Jumptown because that's going to get a lot more use. But that brings us to the major bug fixes. Now, this list was actually quite long. What I found with the major bug fixes that they had reported here, there were several that were great to see, and I've got a list of them here. But some of these that I've got are marked as being fixed, but they're not actually fixed. So take patch notes with a grain of salt. What they believe in their testing that the item's been fixed, it may not actually transfer over to the live servers very well, and we get what we're seeing now with some of these being marked as fixed when they're not. So some of the bug fixes I pulled were the heavy armor should not block the Moby glass as it did before. It does still slightly block it, but it's much more manageable. You can actually see what you want to see and be able to go through what you want to go through. It's not as detrimental as it was before. So definitely a step in the right direction. Klesher mining deposits are actually functioning again. So if you end up in Klesher, you go mining, you can now deposit your rocks and you'll get your merits and it'll take your time off. Players should no longer damage ships when exiting them. This one I never experienced myself, but what I am experienced when I took the Drake Cutlass Steel out is that ramp collision issue. Having the back ramp down and walking on board the ship on a pad or in a hangar, it just inexplicably explodes for no reason. So it's done it to me 3 times so far. And this really was kind of the same issue that we saw with the MSR when it was first released. And it's a random thing that happens. Right now, I'm opening the ramp. I'm letting it sit for about 10 seconds before I walk on board to make sure it's not going to kill me. But it is an issue that we're seeing that the ship is taking damage and collision contact when that ramp is down from time to time. Also, what's being reported as a major bug fix is the underground facility missions. The AI is going to spawn properly as it should, and you're not going to get stuck doing these bunker missions with 1 out of 10 not being able to be found, or however many weren't coming in. And in our running these since 316 went live, it is working correctly. We are finishing them. All the AI is coming in as it's supposed to. So that's a great thing to see that you can actually finish these missions now. The other thing is the mineable rocks should no longer have a small hitbox, which caused difficulty in tracking progress for the braking gauge. What we've seen with some of our org members that are doing mining is that this is not completely fixed. There's still a lot of sensitivity, loss of the gauge, loss of the UI, just being off a hair, and it's not a matter of it being dead center on the rock. It's actually changing. Different rocks have to have it in a different place. It's not perfect. It's not fixed from what we've seen in practice. Of course, they're submitting the issue council reports as they find it, but definitely this is one I would say is reported as fixed, but doesn't really seem to be fixed as well. If you're a player, you should no longer fall through the surface if you're revived from a down state, so that's good to see. Grimhex elevators shouldn't duplicate, which means you get that red bar opening up, and there's another one right behind it. This has been going on for a while, and another one that's been off and on. Hopefully this time it's permanently fixed, but I won't be surprised if we see this come back at a future date. Group bounties are now completing normally as they should. We ran several of them last night, and actually we didn't have an issue with a single one of them. They all completed. We all got paid on them, and it actually ran perfectly. The issue with the Quantanium going volatile once you put it into the prospector or the mole without a countdown, and it just immediately going volatile and explosive, that seems to be fixed at this point. They have that listed in there as one of the major bug fixes that they did. And with the people that have gone mining so far in 3.16, it hasn't been reported that it happened, but it was really bad in 3.15. It happened much more frequently than it had in previous patches. So that seems to be taken care of now as well for all you miners. Another one that we ran into that is stated as being fixed, but I know from personal experience that it's not, and that's quantum travel on a party member. Trying to quantum travel on a party member, I'm finding that if they're on the opposite side of the moon or planet from you, you are going to go through the surface, you are going to get stuck underground, and you are going to die. This is listed as being fixed, and it's not. It's happened to me at least a half a dozen times since the launch of 3.16. Definitely issue council reports have been put in, but this is still continuing. Now, one thing to remember, though, is if your party member is on the side of the moon or planet facing you, then it works fine. You can quantum on them. It doesn't put you into the planet. It's whenever you have to go around the other side of the planet that you're running into this issue. So keep an eye out for that. Don't quantum on your party members if they're on the opposite side, and you should stay alive. The issue they were having with failure to sell commodities in the admin kiosk seems to be taken care of, as well as players no longer getting hit with extreme wind force when exiting a ship or hab doesn't seem to be occurring anymore. And then that brings us to the last one I'm going to go over, which is the repair, refuel, restock on the surface stations. It is fixed. I've actually repaired, refueled, restocked on multiple surface stations without a problem. The problem with this one is the problem has moved now to the low orbit stations. That's going to be by Genie, Everest Harbor, Port Tressler, Port Olisar. And they can no longer repair, refuel, restock. It seems to be somewhat random. It fails more times than it succeeds, but the problem moved from one location to another. So when you're running bounties and all that, your best bet's going to be to go down to the surface to find a station down there with a landing pad to get your ship fixed up or restock if you need to, and avoid those 4 points above the planets. Of course, they fixed a number of technical issues with 7 client crashes, 5 server crashes, and of course the back end server crash fix that they did. So that's always good to see. But pretty much in a nutshell, that's the basic information this week. And really, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to all you viewers, as I really greatly appreciate all the support from everybody out there. I do hope that this holiday season is going to be special to all of you, whatever tradition you follow, whether it be Christmas, Kwanzaa, Festivus. I hope you all have a safe and wonderful holiday for yourself, your friends, and your family, and all your loved ones. But don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and follow on Twitch, where we stream every Wednesday and Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And in a couple more weeks, we'll be returning every Saturday night at 8:30 p.m. with State of the Verse, our live podcast for the latest news and information. But also keep an eye out as we get into the new year. We're going to be doing some bigger and better giveaways, as well as some Twitch exclusive giveaways and YouTube exclusive giveaways for subscribers on both platforms. But keep an eye out for that, and we'll get more information for you as we go along. But thank you again to everybody, and we will catch you next time.